Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Miami Dolphins pregame show on the FinStalk Sports Network. I'm your host, Bobby FinStalk, joined by FinStanza Posner, who again is at his son's hockey game, but now not as a producer, but sitting as a guest just to keep it safe. Because last time he ended the show a little bit early. But that's why we're just going 30 minutes early than we usually do. If you're joining us from Dolphins Thursday pregame, we appreciate you tuning in. FinStanza, I know you were on Fin's Talk yesterday, but since then, how are you, brother? Are you excited? Are you ready for some football?
I'm ready for some football. I'm excited for hockey. Love coaching my kids' hockey. I'm sure you had a blast. You must admit it's so much more fun to be coaching. It's less stressful to be coaching your kid, and such a more of a joy to watch your kid than to watch professional sports, right? I love to see the development of the kids. The only frustration I have this morning is as I'm driving over to the rink, I drive a Sienna, and the flashing light says you've now been converted to two-wheel drive, and that there's a malfunction with your all-wheel drive. Check your engine. Luckily, I'm still driving. I hope everything's good. But it's Sunday. I'll call the dealership tomorrow, and it is what it is. But happy to be here. Happy to talk Dolphins. I'll be coaching my kids' game, and as soon as I get off the ice, coaching the game, Dolphins game will start. So it's going to be a fun-packed day today.
Yeah, it's totally an awesome experience. You know, I mean, I've been, you know, I did this, obviously I did it for my son coaching, you know, and especially, you know this because we've talked about it before, but football is my niche. I mean, I've played everything, but football is my thing. And basketball is Alex's thing growing up, the two of us. So when I decided I'm going to say, I'll help out with coaching, you know, I thought I was being an assistant coach helping my son's team. They're like, no, we need a coach. And I was like, oh, okay. So I've been nervous. And then, you know, we only had 2 practices because of the holiday and something got scheduled. And so I'm like, man, this is going to be, I'm kind of nervous. I'm like, okay. I showed him everything. I couldn't even get him like to have fun. I just said, hey, we just got to get game ready. And let me show you some simulations and let's walk it slow. And then to see that transpire yesterday when they used the game simulations and they were I would say in basketball it's pass, dribble, shoot, and you know, and make sure you rebound and you jump back and everything, and you know, and you're watching it live what you taught in just 2 practices, and then you see your son having fun. That was a blast. You know, and I'm having so much fun though that and of course I love football, that I want to coach. Flag football is coming up and I want to get my son involved in that in February, so I'll probably hop on that. That's more of my niche. You know, I love, you know, that was my goal growing up, was being a coach. So that it's been a lot of fun. But anyway, we are here to talk Dolphins football. The Miami Dolphins 8-3 on the season. Remember, they started 8-3 last year, and then you know, they fell into the playoffs at 9-8. You know, but the 8-3 Dolphins going against Commanders, who are 4-8. But again, this is a different Dolphins team, legitimately. Not just because, obviously it's different, it's a year later. No, this is a different Dolphins team, you know, how do I say this, mentally, et cetera, than it was last year. This team is not falling 5 games in December. This team is not going to fall 9-8 into the playoffs. This team is going to get into the playoffs, whether it's the wild card as a division leader. We know they're going to win the division. It's looking like that anyway. Or they're going to have they could have home field advantage and hopefully a bye, depending on how it goes. But till then, again, good morning to everybody. Hooked Up Joe, Coach Michael Vogel in the house. I'm excited. You know, what I love about I love the football season. College football season starting to end up. It's starting to end. It means draft season is going to start to open up, and I'm so excited to be getting back with Michael to start working on that all together.
Yeah, 12 noon is going to be noon hour. There's going to be 2 very, very upset college football teams because the 6 football teams, so the playoff of 6 only starts next year, and there's going to be 2 very, very upset teams that think that they deserve to be in the top 4. And the big joke to me today was, let's see, Mr. Ross, are you more excited about Michigan or are you more excited about your Dolphins? Because they're both are both doing well. He could have 2 great experiences this year, Mr. Ross, because he's the number 1 contributor. But anyways, we'll talk. I think noon hour, there's going to be a lot of upset people, and I truly believe Florida State's going to be very upset, and so is Georgia. They're going to be very upset.
No, it's going to be crazy. Everyone's going to be watching for that. And again, guys, in regards of college football, don't forget to tune in to Touchdown in Paradise on Thursday mornings. They record on Wednesday night, drop on Thursday morning. They're going to react to everything going on this week with college football. Alabama beats Georgia, shocks Georgia, upsets Georgia. Does Alabama fall into the playoffs? They didn't even deserve to be there. So it's going to be a lot to talk about on Thursday. So tune in, drop your comments. Guys, do react live, I believe, when the show's going on. So very cool. All right, here we go. Dolphins. And again, guys, Dolphins pregame show is sponsored by the FinStanza Network, partnered with Caneswear. Get your Miami Dolphins gear at Caneswear, 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. They've got everything from Dolphins, Marlins, Heat, Panthers, Inter Miami. They got it all. And they got great prices. They got a huge doorbuster sale going on right now that they dropped yesterday for December. Huge deals going on, big deals. If you want to get some great merchandise, FinStanza, when he goes to Florida, that's where he goes. The only reason why he went to the team store that day, or one of those days, was because I said, hey, we're going to the team store. But when he goes to get his merch, it is Caneswear. He introduced me to Caneswear. He brought me there. I loved what I saw. They got an outlet store there, so they always got some good deals going on. And even if you're not in Florida, let's say you are like our friend Brett Legassi, our peer here on the FinStanza Sports Network, who lives in Delaware. Let's say he really wants that Coach McDaniel shirt. He doesn't have to be in Florida. He doesn't have to send Alex there to go pick it up. Go to www.caneswear.com. Look, find the shirt, press the order button. They will ship it to you. And if you get an order over $100, $99, excuse me, it is free. Caneswear. All right. We are awaiting the final inactives report. The Dolphins are 9.5-point favorites in this football game. Again, I think that's absolutely fair in this football game. It's not like one of these games where it's like, oh, dude, I don't know about that. That's a little high. No, it is fair. Dolphins can do it. Hopefully Dolphins don't sleep on the Commanders. It's a team not to sleep on. But FinStanza, how are you feeling about this football game overall? Are you feeling confident? Do you feel a little overconfident? Is there any sort of nervousness before this game today?
The game doesn't make me nervous itself. The weather, I think it's going to be a little damp. I think it might be raining there today. You could always check the weather report for me, but I think before I left, I saw a preview on NFL Network that it could be raining there because in the Northeast, the weather isn't so great today. But like I said, my only fear on this football team belongs to the offense, and it belongs to Tua Tagovailoa. He is the person who has to lead this football team for the rest of this season. And if he continues to turn over this football, he is going to be that inconsistent quarterback that a lot of people have been saying that he is, because in order to get to that other upper echelon of the elite, you have to stop turning over the football. And that he has had this hiccup since the beginning of the year, no matter what his stats say. And he potentially could cost us a game because the last two games he's basically kept the other team in the game, and if it wasn't for his defense, they could have come back. We could have potentially lost those two games at one point with a momentum swing. So the only thing I'm concerned about is if it's a wet football, because as you recalled, the last time you remember and I remember him playing with a wet football, you were at that game. Mike McDaniel wasn't the coach, but he could not hold on to that football. So my only concern right now is the weather and how Tua reacts to that weather. But just play it smart. It's really what I said yesterday on Fin's Talk today. In this type of game, every game counts. You can't take any football team seriously because everyone thought that the Broncos were for naught after we dropped 70 on them, and now they have a plus 500 record and could potentially make the playoffs. Yep. If things fall their way, because there's injuries on a lot of other teams. So for me overall, my number one concern is Uno, and I'm one of the biggest 2-and-on people. You know that. But right now, he worries me more than Jason Sanders because his latest interceptions, the game he did in Kansas City with the miscommunication with Cedric Wilson, the miscommunication on the snaps in Kansas City, then the fumbles with the handoffs, the staring down, doing a Mike White and staring down the receiver versus sticking to what your skill set is. I don't want to hear about Mike McDaniel not having the right play call. You're the quarterback. You have to feel that confidence. And right now, the Miami Dolphins, unlike what we all thought at the beginning of the year, we all thought that the AFC was going to be this juggernaut of a division, of a conference, and the NFC would be the weaker. Right now, I'd be more concerned playing NFC teams than I am AFC teams in terms of the top echelon. So the Dolphins have to take care of their business. And the way to take care of their business is to not beat yourself up. And as you know, the Miami Dolphins need to play a 60-minute football game. They've yet to do They've yet to do so this weekend. I have no concerns over this defense, even with Jalen Phillips getting out. I think that people want to come to Miami. So you have Andrew Van Ginkel can go back to edge rusher. Ogba had a good game after Phillips went out. Yes, Jason Pierre-Paul probably not going to play today, but he's a veteran with 2 Super Bowls. The defense, I'm not worried about. Vic Fangio knows what he's doing. He's a veteran. Mike McDaniel and Tua have to stop from outsmarting themselves and stick to what works.
So, you know what? I think that's very fair. I think you're hitting the nails on the head. I get it. First off, what I have on here, the Fins December playoff push is on. What were the 2 things, FinStanza, that I said in regards of our quarterback this season? Remember, last year was consistency, right?
Injuries and winning in December.
That's correct. And now it's December, and you're right. The last few games, we've won these games, but he's had some mental errors. And the best thing about this
team, he's been below average. I'll even say he's been below average.
Yeah, and I will say, that's what's different about this team. First off, what's great about Tua is he can make a mistake. Next play, he fixes it. It's not like he goes in.
Not last week.
And that's fair. That's fair. But also that this football team, I don't want to say saves him, but if you look, this defense now is coming up. This defense, I heard a line yesterday, and it's so true. Offense sells tickets, defense wins championships. And how true is that when it comes to the Miami Dolphins? Our offense, when people think of the Dolphins, they think of our offense. Tyreek, Jalen, Tua, McDaniel sells tickets. That's why Hard Rock sold out. The team is winning. We're thinking Super Bowl, all this. But what wins championships? It's defense. And that's what's been saving the Dolphins, I believe, is the way our defense has been playing. And they've moved up now to 7th in the NFL. But you're absolutely right. This is the time right now. Tua has to have a good to strong December for Miami before we get to before we get into the playoff run.
And today, of all days, I understand that they're worse against the pass than they are against the run because they do have 2 very stout defensive tackles up the middle, the Commanders. But this is I think if Chris Brooks plays, but even this is the healthiest our running back game has been since the beginning of the season. If Brooks plays, if you have Achane, if you have Wilson, you have Mostert, you need to utilize that running game. And like I said, the whole short yardage situation game today, if you don't want to throw, the one thing I thought about this morning, the reason I get so upset about these screens is that because they're pushing the football backwards. When you have a short yardage situation, you need to be moving forward. So if they want to throw a crossing route, or they want to throw something or run the ball, great. If you want to throw the ball on a crossing route, great. But if you want to, when you're throwing a screen, which means you're throwing it behind yourself in order to get the run, you're basically backing up 5 yards to you're basically trying to get 5 yards on a 3rd and 1 because you're already behind the line of scrimmage. So that's where I'm frustrated with the team. If they're making these mistakes that are frustrating to me, like there were times last week and then during the Raiders game, I felt like I was watching Ryan Tannehill, a quarterback, in the sense that there was no sense of leadership there. He was letting his team was bailing him out. And he would just run back and say, my bad, my bad, my bad. And I just want to see MVP level Tua, who has ice in his veins. He needs to treat every game today, the rest of the season, like a playoff game. And if he doesn't, then we're going to be in a little bit of trouble.
First of all, I just want to say I don't appreciate the Ryan Tannehill diss right before I was about to talk. That's what you were doing, and I don't appreciate it. Shame on you, sir. Shame on you. Anyway, we'll continue. Let me just thank everybody here. Again, you guys are watching a Dolphins pregame show on the FinStalk Sports Network. We got a lot of great people in the comments right now, whether you're watching on Twitter or Facebook, Twitch, or, of course, YouTube. Thank you guys so much. Smash that like and subscribe button. Ray Finkel is in the house. Eric Rivera. Hooked Up Joe, who says there's no rain today, supposedly. It is foggy. I did see that on Twitter. Coach Michael Vogel and Rob of DolphinsThirsty.com. If you're thirsty for Dolphins content, you go check out Rob on DolphinsThirsty.com and YouTube. And thank you to Rob. I did see here that he did end his show at 30 minutes so he could drop in here. I appreciate him, and I appreciate his friendship. And, of course, we do a lot of great things together all between both channels. So Vogel, who's part of FinStanza Sportsnet, was on there today. Very excited for that. Scotty is in the house. Evan, I might not listen to you again comparing it to T Hill. Jason, Fins up from New Mexico. What's up, brother? It is a big game.
I'm coach of the band. I'm the leader of the bandwagon, but I am not shy when it comes to our quarterback because he needs to be people. He can't get a pass. He can't get a pass because of his stats. Stats are very deceiving. I don't want him to be Kirk Cousins like. He's being Kirk Cousins like, where the stats look great, but what does that get you?
Well, look, I know, but first off, I mean, Kirk Cousins like is and what version of Tannehill we're talking about? With Tannehill when he was leading the Dolphins to the playoffs in that playoff push, he had a great season that year. Got injured in an Arizona game. Kirk Cousins is a viable starting quarterback in this NFL, and you don't have to be an MVP caliber quarterback for your team to win the Super Bowl. And Tua is an MVP caliber. He's been playing like this season. I know the last few games he hasn't. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not. But in order to win in the playoffs and win a Super Bowl, you don't have to be the end all of all. No. Your team is built that you don't have to do that. I know this is going a while back, but you go look at the Baltimore Ravens when they had the number one defense in football, the best defense in football, and they had Trent Dilfer at quarterback. I'm not saying Tua is Trent Dilfer at all, but what I'm saying is, we just need Tua to protect the football, play smart, and limit your mistakes.
I feel sort of right now he's playing like I said this a couple weeks ago, and it was in the Raiders game. He's being very robotic. He's being very robotic and relying on what Mike McDaniel's telling him to do, and he's not improvising. And he's trying to stick to a script. And just because but he has to realize that sometimes the script doesn't work. Like you're stuck in traffic, you can sit in that traffic for 2 hours, or you could pay attention, see if there's alternate routes, and make it happen. Like you have so many wide receivers on this staff. Like it was kind of nice when you saw 2 weeks ago that Tyreek Hill wasn't on the field. It was nice to see that he was going to Waddle. He was going to Wilson. Like when's the last time you and I heard him go to Berrios? When's the last time we heard him go to Craycraft? When's the last time we heard him go to Smythe? That's where I wanted to go. That's when he was successful at the beginning of the year. He was passing. You and I would look at the stats on the post-game show, and he was distributing the ball to 7 wide receivers. Now, when you look at the stats, he's throwing it to 2 or 3. That's a problem for me. He's successful when he spreads the ball around.
So, and let me just say this again: offense should have a good game today. I mean, they're facing against a 29th ranked defense, and the Dolphins dominate on low-ranked defenses. They should do it today against this defense. Jason, it's cold and rainy on the field right now. The running back should get a heavy load today. That's something that I think. Again, I think there will be a passing game. I think that there will be an ad just popped up midstream. You're getting famous. Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's pretty neat. Thank you. But I will say is that I agree. I think that the ball has to be distributed. A passing game, I think it has to be close to 50% pass and run. But I'm with Jason. I think the running game will get a lot of attention today from the Dolphins offense. I expect Achin and Mozart. And Brooks is not back, right? He's not back today. Do we know that?
He's on the he's off the IR.
He's off the IR, so we're gonna see. We haven't got the final inactive sets.
This is one of the first times this season that everyone was either questionable. Everyone was either questionable or playing. No one was doubtful. No one was out. So we literally could go from having Armstead out, Holland out, Lamb out, all these guys out, Hunt out, all these guys out, Holland out, but we don't know that yet because they were all under questionable. There was no guarantee. Like there's a chance everyone might play. We might have, with the exception of Jalen Phillips, everyone back. Like we might literally have everyone back.
And let me just say this. Let me do the quote unquote tail of the tape here. Excuse me. Obviously the two teams, the records. Dolphins are 8-3. The Commanders are 4-8. Home record for the Dolphins this season. That's why I think home field advantage is very important.
Ginormous.
The Dolphins are 5-0 this season at home. The Commanders, why the Dolphins have not just the 9.5 favorites, but also the big time favorites in this game. Commanders are 1-4 at home this season. 1-4. The Dolphins' road record this season. Dolphins are on the road today. They are 3-3. Commanders are 3-4 away from home. Average points scored a game for the Dolphins. 31 points, but 30.8. Okay, round up 31 points for Dolphins average points. The Commanders average 20.5. Average points allowed on defense for the Dolphins is 22.8. Commanders 29.2. Offensive rank for the Dolphins, number 1. Commanders 14. Dolphins defense now have moved up to number 7 in the NFL. They're the 7th ranked best defense in football. Think about that growth throughout the season, and now it's going into December. Imagine where it could be before the playoffs and how that would help us carry us through the playoffs. Number 7th ranked defense right now. And then Commanders are the 29th ranked defense. The last 5 games for the Commanders, they've lost the last 2, Dallas and the Giants. 45-10 against the Cowboys. Giants 31-19. They lost, all 3 games in a row now. Seattle also 29-26. Beat New England 20-17. And lost to Philly 38-31. They've averaged about 21.2 points a game in those 5 games. Dolphins, we know they are 3-2 in the last 5 games. Beat the Jets, the Raiders, the Patriots, but lost to the Kansas City Chiefs and Eagles. Dolphins in this 5-game stretch have averaged 22.6 points a game. Sam Howell, they're leading the 14th ranked offense in football. 3,339 yards this season, 18 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. Your thoughts on him? Does he concern you at all? But what have you seen from him that might spell trouble for the Dolphins today?
He gets his completions. He gets big yards. But I do think he'll have a good game in terms of yardage, only because this prevent defense that Vic Fangio likes to play, that if we don't get to the quarterback, which we should because he's also the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. So I predict we should need to get at least 5 sacks on him today. I'll be disappointed if we don't get 5 sacks or more on him today. But I do think he'll pick up probably 300 yards, potentially close to it, just because it's a rainy day and he's probably going to force the ball a lot. But he doesn't concern me because they don't have enough. The defense of the Miami Dolphins is too strong to let him into the end zone. I think he'll move the ball down the field, but I do think that we will get our turnovers and we will succeed. But Sam Howell is just, like I said, he's very Kirk Cousins-like. He's a pure version of Kirk Cousins, where the stats are great and all, but where does that get you? Like, he's still leading a 4-8 team, so it doesn't matter what his stats look like, his team can't win.
Absolutely. I'm just see here. They say Chris Brooks won't play today. It was announced earlier. Just want to make sure I don't see. I'm trying to see if I don't. Just want to see if anything has popped up. Very foggy day. It could be the Fog Bowl. Brian Baldinger has said of NFL Network. Very foggy game today for Miami and the Commanders. Here's some news that pertains to today's game. We know that Ron Rivera has been fired as defensive coordinator or Jack Del Rio has been fired.
And their defensive back coach is also fired. There's his name.
Yeah. So Jack Del Rio fired as defensive coordinator. Commanders coach Ron Rivera is having interim defensive back coach Christian Garcia, who is at 29, one of the youngest position coaches in football, handle a larger role in game planning on game day, a big opportunity at a young age. So Dolphins should have a field day against the 29th ranked defense if a interim 29-year-old coach, unless he is the second coming on defense. Let's make sure here. QB1 has landed. FedEx takeover is in effect. My goodness, how many Dolphin fans are there today? Braxton Barrios pulling up in a Sean Taylor Hurricanes jersey today to the game. Canes up. Love it. Love to see it. Just trying to make sure. Awesome. All right. So we're still waiting on that. Guys watching the Dolphins pregame show on the FinStanza Sports Network. Appreciate you all tuning in. All right. Raheem Mostert. Again, he is on the cusp of breaking. He could be breaking Ricky Williams' total touchdown records. I think, is that 15 or 18? 15, right?
15, I think.
So he needs 2 more to tie it, 3 to break it. we're on a watch for that. Put this here.
Tyreek's on pace for 2,044 yards, so he still needs to get about an average of 120 a game, and he'll be fine. He'll get there.
I had that. I don't know where that was that I saw that.
And by the way, that's also the one injury that concerns me. Of all the injuries on the Miami Dolphins right now, that's the one injury I would not want to push today, and that's Tyreek's ankle. In the rain of the fog, I would not want to push him.
It has the potential. It could be you're right. Yeah, 18 overall is held by Mark Clayton. That's total touchdowns, right? Or is that just receiving touchdowns?
That might be receiving.
Well, maybe not receiving. Maybe it's not receiving. Maybe it's total touchdowns. Maybe 16. Yeah, 16 touchdowns is the rushing record. 18, I believe, is the overall record. Got you. Thank you, Rob. Yeah, man. You know what? Hey, talk about giving flowers. Let's do that. Raheem Mostert, man. Not enough people are talking about Raheem Mostert. Talking about Tua Tagovailoa. Of course, he's our starting quarterback. Talking about Tyreek Hill. Why not? Our best player on the Dolphins football team. Mike McDaniel, maybe the most fun young coach in football right now, maybe one of the best coach in football. Just a way. It's just overall just a fun team, and a lot of people, damn good football players and people in general, are getting lost in the shuffle. But Raheem Mostert, what a year for him, and I still believe again that Miami could have got, because you see these injuries, and we know how that's affected Mostert as well. Achane goes down. Nothing. We didn't know anything about Achane going down or have any preference that he would during the season or nothing like that. Everybody goes down once in a while in injury, but I was one of the advocates of getting a running back and saying, hey, we need another running back. Get that committee, a strong running back. But he heard a lot of noise. He took that, put a chip on his shoulder. He gained some weight in the offseason, some muscle. He's going to show everybody, look what I can do. I mean, 13 touchdowns, I believe, rushing. He has 2 touchdowns receiving. That's 15 total. 785 yards on the ground. I mean, he is having one of the best seasons as a Dolphins player, and he's second, I believe, in rushing yards to Christian McCaffrey, and his goal is to catch him. Think about that for a second.
I think they're second. I think Zach Moss might be ahead. I think him, and I think the Dolphins have the second total running yards in the NFL.
Let me open that
up. I think he might be fourth, but if you combine Achane, Ahmed, Wilson, Brooks, I think then we're second, if I recall.
Because I know he was talking about catching.
I think he might be. I thought he was third or fourth, and I thought the combined total of the Dolphins as a whole is second in the league. Tell me if I'm wrong.
Nope, he is second. Okay. He is 939 yards for Christian McCaffrey. Raheem Mostert is 785 right now. Okay. So Josh Jacobs.
He will not catch.
Oh, no. Well, hey, you know what? Never say never. I know. It's Christian McCaffrey.
But Achane's going to get a lot of.
Oh, no. But see, I'm not mad at that, because Achane coming back, and if Achane's healthy and he's coming back, he's going to open up so much more for this offense, and even give Mostert. Mostert's going to do what he does best. Mostert has done very well for us, but Mostert is a bigger threat when he's a runner/receiver. When you can move him all over the field, I mean, he becomes dangerous. And we know the fumbling situation, and he's having issues holding that football. It's going to give him that will go away with Achane coming back. Less pressure, less carries, less hitting and pounding, But you got to give him his flowers this season. What he's been able to do. I mean, if he breaks those records, if he breaks the total record, 18 touchdowns, if he breaks Ricky Williams' touchdown record, if he gets over 1,000 yards, Scotty's right. I say it. I'm saying he's better with Achane's out there. So that's why I'm very excited. But if he does that, where do you put Mostert with those guys, especially maybe let's say Ricky Williams? Where does he rank with Ricky Williams if he is able to break those records?
It depends on how far the Dolphins go, right? Like if the Dolphins go deep into the playoffs, it will be recognized as more. if the Dolphins are in and out after one game, then it will be sort of forgotten. He'll be in the Jai, Lamar Smith, Reggie Bush.
And that's fair. That's fair. I think that's a good point. I think that's a good point.
He's been in the league a long time, right? Ricky Williams was consistently our best offensive player when he was here. Raheem Mostert is never going to be our best offensive player.
But he will be one of those. Cap, I appreciate you, brother. Cap for life in the house.
No, but
I prefer my guys on FTC.
But when Ricky Williams and Jai and Lamar Smith and Reggie Bush were playing, we had a running focused offense. Now we have a passing focused offense, so the running will never get the credit it deserves when it deserves more. Because Mike McDaniel should be using more of his running game. Like today, you said 50-50. I want to see 60-40. I want to see more.
Well, especially today with the weather, you're absolutely right. I would say I want it close to 50-50, but today is a 60-40 game. We should be running over passing. And especially with, and again, no knock, but it is what it is. Especially with the recent turnover prone that Tua has become with interceptions, you don't want to put him on that.
And on a wet field, you don't want to.
And you're right. The worst game I ever saw in my life in person was the Dolphins versus Titans in Nashville, the ice rain day. It was horrible overall. Don't ever want to see that again. And that was in person. That was my daughter's first game. Shame on me.
And you know that what the one positive of that game was, what we seem to forget. And I forget who the running back was off the top of my head. You probably do. He ended up going to the Bills the next year. He had 100 yards in the first half rushing, and we went away from the rushing attack. What was his name? You remember? Who was the running back for the Dolphins when he had 100 yards in that game where we lost by, I think, 30?
Oh,
in that playoff game.
Not Breida?
No. He went to the Bills. I can't remember his name. Someone in the comments was going to say something. Duke Johnson. There we go. Duke Johnson
from Miami.
I didn't have to look at the comments. I just remembered.
University of Miami. Got you. Okay. Let's do this. We are about 30 minutes in. Again, I want to thank everybody who's joining us, tuning in. Rome 777 in the house.
Huh? I'll be cutting off at 45 today.
No worries. So let's do this very quick.
Oh, we have 45 minutes. We're good. 35 minutes.
Yeah, we're all right.
Yeah, we're good.
But let's do this. Let us go. Yeah, we're gonna go around the league, but I'm gonna try to do this different.
By the way, can I make a prediction here today? This is going to be the biggest upset week in NFL as far as we can remember. I think there's going to be a lot of upsets today.
So this is how I'm going to do it. While I'm doing this, again, FinStanza, you just keep your eye on the comments for me. Okay. Let me make whatever point I'm going to make because I'm not going to be able to see you. I'm going to move out of my way here for a second so I can look at this screen. I'm going to go look at the schedule, but I'm going to do the NFL playoff machine on ESPN. They have I use it every year. I love it. That's how I keep track of everything. So as we're making our picks with our consensus, I'm going to use those ones, and then I'll be the filter on those ones, and then we'll see how we finish. The Dolphins finish this week with the standings. All right. Yeah. As we move here, and again, guys, my eyes are off screen, so if you have anything to say to me, FinStanza will see it, and he will say it after we talk about one of the games. So we know we're at week 13 of the NFL season right now. As the seeding stands, Baltimore is number 1. They're at 9-3. They will get the first round bye if the season ended today. Keywords ended today. The Kansas City Chiefs are the second seed. Jags are 3rd. Dolphins are 4th. Pittsburgh, the 5th seed. Cleveland and Colts following those guys 6 and 7. The playoff matchups would be, and tell me how you would feel about this, FinStanza, quickly, because we got time. But it would be Miami versus Pittsburgh in the wild card round. So let's pretend that was the game we were prepping for, and let's say we're at the playoff. How would you feel about going into that game or that game overall? Would you be comfortable with that matchup?
100% because the Steelers can't score.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, I'm see that's the thing about the seeding. To me, it's about matchups,
and it's at home.
That's true. So then that would be Jacksonville versus Cleveland, Kansas City versus Indianapolis. At that point, Eagles for the NFC. Just to run that down, Eagles are number 1 right now. San Francisco number 2. Detroit and Atlanta 3 and 4. Dallas, Minnesota, and Seattle 5, 6, 7.
I don't know if you know this. You know that in theory, even though they all play each other, that if the Carolina Panthers were to win out and some other things happen, they could actually still win the division at 1-10, because the next best team in that division, which is the Falcons, has 5 wins. There's only 4 wins. If they were to go and win 7 games and win the next 6 in a row somehow, some way, and the other teams falter against each other, they could actually somehow, and they win the division matchup, they could actually get to 6. If they got to 7 wins, they in theory could. If they got to 7 wins, they might win the division at 1-10. Is that not crazy?
Can you imagine that? And Frank Reich would be sitting there going, "Okay."
No, he was the wrong coach for that team.
Yeah, I feel for him.
By the way, I don't know. I just want to say something. I don't care what anybody says about Stephen Ross. People criticize him meddling.
Yeah, I know.
David Tepper is worse than Stephen Ross.
Yeah, I know. That ownership situation is horrible. All right. So let's go ahead now and run through. And again, guys, this will pertain to the Dolphins as we go through every team, because especially when you got Kansas City, the Jaguars, Baltimore, those teams right there, guys, we want those teams to lose. So whoever they are facing, root for that team. Root for that team. All right, we know the Cowboys have beaten the Seattle Seahawks. We don't have to touch on that. We got AFC East matchup, or AFC. We got the new, not an AFC East matchup, but we got the Patriots welcoming the Los Angeles Chargers. FinStanza. How does that game go?
It's just because I can never cheer for Brandon Staley. I honestly, for a guy who's hard on Justin Herbert, I just think this guy is a disaster. And the Patriots can't lose every game for the rest of the season. And it's in Foxborough. The weather's not going to be great there either. Upset alert. New England Patriots over the Los Angeles Chargers.
First off, you're absolutely right. I watched that game last week. Herbert did everything he could have. His team does not help him. The coach is not great. I mean, not even good. It's just he's in a bad situation there in LA. They got to clean house and get him what he needs in regards of offensive staff. Look what that did for Tua in regards of for a new coach and a fresh name and whatever. That has to happen. If somehow, some way, New England beats Los Angeles today, they need to clean house tomorrow. There's no way you lose to the Patriots today. I will say the Chargers will win, but if it goes down that way, FinStanza, Chargers tomorrow need to fire their head coach. Moving on, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers at home against the Arizona Cardinals. Pittsburgh is 7-4. Cardinals, of course, trying, I think. I don't know, but they're trying to get that number 1 pick, but they are 2-10. How do you think this goes?
The Cardinals just don't have enough. They mutually got away from Zach Ertz. They're just not a good team, and they're playing in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is not great on offense, but they do have a defense that will frustrate Kyler Murray today. And the Pittsburgh Steelers, shockingly, will be 8-4, which is more frustrating than you can even imagine, because they don't deserve to be 8-4.
All right, and I just went back to my screen very quick. Am I frozen?
No, you're a black screen.
I'm a black screen right now?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. That's never happened before.
You never look so good.
Whatever. Let's see. I'll fix that.
It's funny. I'm on remote location on my phone with phone internet, and you can't even make it work. See, I'm telling you that Tennessee internet.
So you say black screen. Everybody sees what I see. I'm frozen with my eyes shut.
Nope, I see black screen because I'm in a different location.
Probably.
Because I'm in the background, right? I'm in the background.
Why is that like that? Let's see if I do it that way. Can everybody see me now?
Yes.
Good. All right, I have to use the damn laptop.
By the way, just an FYI, did you ever read the story? Side note: did you watch the video that people posted about the whole Miami Dolphins fight song?
I saw bits of it. I did save it so I could watch it.
Can you imagine singing that song with the word Houston Oilers? How can this song?
Well, you see, I've heard that before, and that's why I was like, this was made for someone else, and then it became famous for Miami.
No, it was made for Miami. Miami didn't buy the rights to it, but when they won the Super Bowl, everyone started singing it. But because the Miami Dolphins didn't want to buy the rights to it and he wanted to sell, he went to Houston and rewrote the song exactly how it is, just changing Miami for Houston, Dolphins for Oilers, and they started singing it there. But the Oilers never won anything. So when they say up and down, like the greatest football team, how could they be? And then when they actually came to Miami the year after, like in 74, 75, with Bum Phillips and that group, and they were there, and the Dolphins would score, they would start singing the fight song, and they go, "We know this song." I go, "Yeah, because it's ours."
All right, let's go ahead and continue here now that I fixed my camera, and forgive me, guys. All right, going on, you got the Tennessee. This is a playoff type of game here because this playoff implications, at least for these teams. Titans in Nashville welcome the Indianapolis Colts, who are currently in the wild card spot at 7. Can the Colts beat the Titans at home in Tennessee?
No, Tennessee will pick up the victory in Tennessee. They're a different team in Tennessee.
I agree with you there. And if that goes down in this matchup here, before any other game, of course, if Tennessee wins, then Indianapolis will fall out. Houston will fall in to that spot at 6-5. And talking about Houston at home today, welcome the surging Broncos into Houston. The Broncos currently, like Evan brought up earlier, we beat them 70, whatever. You thought it was done. You thought it was over. We thought that was done and over. I mean, in general, the audience. Sean Payton, huge mistake. Vance Joseph get fired, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. 6-5, FinStanza. Do they go 7-5 today?
Nope. I think that D'Amico Ryans and C.J. Stroud are angry because they could have won that football game against the Jaguars. Doug Peterson pulled a Mike McDaniel, made a few bonehead calls. The Jaguars did not play great last game, and they still came out with the victory. And I think that it's going to be It's going to be a game that Houston wants to make up for. And I think the Broncos are getting a little too high on themselves, and I think they're going to be a little too mile high today in Houston. And I think we are Texans are going to pick up the victory today in Houston.
All right, moving on. You got the
You didn't make a prediction.
Oh, I'm with Houston. I nodded my head. I'm with Houston. Okay. Detroit Lions travel to New Orleans. Who do you got?
Jared Goff is actually suffering from the Tua Tagovailoa disease of fumbling the football. And I think this might be a little bit of a letdown. I think that they're not as good as everyone thinks they are. And I think this is another upset alert. And it's a dome game. And I do believe the New Orleans Saints, who still have a chance to win their division, have a little more sense of urgency in their division. And they need to win these non-division games. And the New Orleans Saints are going to pick up the victory. Who that?
All right. So for me, I am going to roll with... going to go with the Lions. But all good points.
There's a lot of upsets today.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's December football.
Should be a ugly one, maybe. But the New York Jets welcome the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are 5-6, and they are currently in the 4th seed. And FinStanza said again, New Orleans is right behind them, 5-6. If the New Orleans wins and Atlanta loses, if New Orleans will jump up here. But I'm gonna roll. I'll roll with Evans New Orleans Saints pick here just for S and giggles. All right. For this, I'm doing the playoff machine as we go here. So I think Detroit will win, but I'm gonna have on this here. I'm gonna have the Saints winning per Evan. But this Falcons versus Jets. How does this go?
The Jets just can't score. They just can't score, and I think Bijan Robinson's going to have quite a game, and I think Jesse Bates is going to have a good game, because Rodgers is not going to be back yet, and I do believe the Atlanta Falcons will pick up their 6th victory of the season.
There you go. And if the Falcons win and the Saints win, Falcons will remain as the number 1 team in the NFC South. We go to, we're going to skip the Dolphins game for a second. We'll keep that to the end. Staying in the NFC South, you got the Buccaneers against the Panthers. Evan has said, depending on how it all plays out, Panthers win out, they still have a chance, even though they're 1-10. But I think we both believe that is not going to happen. But I got the Buccaneers winning here. Am I wrong?
It's the Antonio Pierce effect. I think that whenever you get a new coach, you get that little bit of a lift. And I think they're just playing spoiler right now. And the Carolina Panthers always play the Buccaneers tough. And I believe the Carolina Panthers are going to go into Raymond James Stadium and upset the Bucs.
Manny, no, he has not. He has not won a. I mean, he has not bought his Jason Sanders jersey yet because
I almost bought it yesterday.
Almost.
Yeah, I didn't have the size. I actually want to wear it.
Oh, okay, okay. John, good to see you in the house. Manny is in the house. Great to see everybody. We're running through week 13 right now, and we'll get to the end to see how that implicates the playoffs, what's changed, what's not, especially when it comes to our Miami Dolphins. Huge game in the NFC. Could be an NFC championship preview. You got the San Francisco 49ers traveling to Philadelphia to play the Eagles. Eagles 10-1, Niners 8-3. Evan, how does it go?
San Francisco 49ers are angry over how things ended last year with not having Brock Purdy behind center. The Eagles are something else, but they've yet to dominate a win. And I do believe that the San Francisco 49ers have revenge on their mind. And I think they want to remind the Eagles that they're not the beast, that the 49ers are just as good. Fred Warner, I think, is going to get to Jalen Hurts a little bit. And I think Christian McCaffrey is going to – it's not a very nice game there. I think Christian McCaffrey is going to go crazy today. And I do believe that the San Francisco 49ers will go into Lincoln Financial and pick up the victory. You're on mute. I can't hear you. You have no sound. I can't hear you.
Yeah, I don't know why I'm on mute. All right. So I agree with you. I am rolling with the 49ers. See, I'm telling you, I don't know what's going on with the glitches and everything, but it's just been a day, but that's okay. And talking about Manny, I will be on his post immediately following the game. I should be there with Alex and Rob, I believe, of DolphinsThirsty.com. We'll be immediately after.
Go walk and see if there's food.
The Finns Talk Sports Network post-game show will be at 8 o'clock tonight. Moving on. You got the Cleveland Browns, who are currently the 6th seed in the AFC at 7-4, going against the LA Rams. Rams are, pull this up here. They are 5-6. Do the Rams pull off the upset, quote unquote?
Nope. I think Joe Flacco is going to do just enough by handing off the ball and just being very conservative. And I think Myles Garrett is going to give the Rams offensive line a lot of struggles, and that the Cleveland Browns will head into SoFi and pick up the victory.
Yeah, I think it was a smart move of them to pick up Joe Flacco, smart veteran quarterback. I think it helps them. They get the win today. They moved to 8-4 on the season. What a season they're having too. It's really, their defense has been crazy good this season. Big game for Miami in regards of playoff implication. 2 big games following these two are coming up right here. You got the Chiefs traveling to Lambeau to face the Green Bay Packers. FinStanza, is this an upset alert?
Sunday Night Football. Green Bay Packers had a great game on Thanksgiving. I believe that it's going to be not a very nice game. And like I said, even the Chiefs have not been great. I think this is a very big letdown week, and I think the Kansas City Chiefs are also going to get upset today.
All right, let's see here. I got a little glitch there. Yeah. Let me fix something very quick, guys. Bear with me for just a moment. And there we go. All right, back at it. All right. You said there was an upset?
Sorry?
Did you say there was an upset?
Yes.
I apologize. Okay.
Go see upstairs if you can.
Oh, here we go. That's better. I was wondering what was wrong with this thing.
So, Zach, wait for me.
Let's see. The home record for the Packers are 3-2. They're averaging about 21 points a game. We know that the Chiefs are averaging about 23 points a game. Average points allowed for the Packers are 20 and 16 for the Chiefs. 19th ranked offense and 18th ranked defense, about mid-tier, but it is in Lambeau. Could be the surprise. My goodness, would that be amazing? You know, I'm going to roll with you. I'm going to say the Green Bay Packers shock the NFL world. That will get them the 7th seed in the NFC, and that will move the Chiefs down to the 4th seed if it plays out the way we think it will, which is kind of crazy. Then you got another big-time matchup for the AFC in regards to playoff implications and Miami Dolphins football playoff implications. You have the Cincinnati Bengals traveling to Jacksonville to play the Jaguars. could this be a second big-time upset, FinStanza?
Who are the Jaguars playing again? Sorry, I was just directing.
Cincinnati Bengals, sir.
No, Jaguars unfortunately pick up the victory.
All right, let's see here. Let's roll with this. Yeah, no. Hey. So Jaguars at home they split. They're 3-3. On the road, they're 5-0, which is just crazy. But you're looking at the Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, overall, they lost Joe Burrow, 5-6 on the season, 2-3 on the road, 19 points a game offensively, allowed 22 points a game, 27th ranked offense, 31st ranked defense. No way, no how. Jags win. If the Jaguars win, because the Baltimore Ravens are in a bye at that point, again, we haven't just done the Dolphins game, but we know where we're rolling here, the Jaguars would have the number 1 seed. Now, before we jump into the Dolphins game, FinStanza, when you're ready, sir, we talked about it yesterday, but let's touch on it here. Yeah. What are your 3 keys to secure a Dolphins victory today?
3 keys. Don't turn over the football. Win a run on short yardage situations, and get to Sam Howell. I want to see 5+ sacks. So I want to see the defense drive Sam Howell nuts. I want to see the better short yardage play on by Mike McDaniel and Tua, and no turnovers. 0, not 1. I will not accept 1 turnover from this football team today. Not 1.
That's right. Let me go ahead and make sure. I just want to check as we're talking here. Open this up here. Let's look at the Dolphins. And I know Scotty, those guys will be coming to clutch. You see here. All right. So nothing right now in regards of final inactives. But all right.
Usually comes around 11:30, 11:45 usually.
So my 3 keys to victory, I talked about them yesterday. I'll say it again. Again, Dolphins offense against the 29th, the number 1 offense against the 29th ranked defense. The Dolphins offense needs to light it up through the air and on the ground.
Always in control.
Always in control. Okay. But more, again, I agree. 60-40 run, pass. 60% run, 40% pass. But they need to dominate. This has to be an offensive dominant game for Miami. Our defense, number 2 key defense, can't sleep on Washington's offense with Sam Howell. I know it's, again, I don't think they will. I have no inkling of concern in regards to Dolphins defense, but hopefully don't sleep on it. The Washington offense has scored 31 points on Philly before. They scored 26 points in Seattle. And, I mean, they're due some points. They haven't been able to score over 20 last 2 games.
Wow. Breaking news.
What?
Alabama and Georgia are outside of the playoffs.
What?
In the poll. The final poll. Is that the final decision or the final poll? I don't know if it's a final decision. The final poll has Alabama and Georgia outside of the top 4.
I don't see nothing right now.
I just got an alert. It says final poll received Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Florida State top final poll with Alabama 56 C full ranking. Is that the final decision though? I don't know if that's the final decision. I mean, it might be, right?
I don't know. I don't see anything right now.
I guess.
Okay,
yeah,
so
here we go.
What's the AP top 25? Right? Washington, Texas, Florida State. What am I looking at here?
That'd be crazy if that's the case. Hey, how can you imagine a playoff without Alabama and Georgia? Can you imagine that?
Wow. Washington. Man, can you imagine Georgia? They did all of that. The drop yesterday.
Alabama goes to win that, and they don't even make it.
I know. I just saw Scotty's list there. I know Rob. FinStanza Sports are basically taking over the.
When they make the I'm not sure because I'm not a college football expert. When they make the final poll, is that the final decision?
Well, that's not them. That has to be the college football playoffs poll.
BCS, right? The BS.
Yeah.
58 people. Okay.
Well, I want to make sure I get Rob's playoff predictions is Michigan, Washington, FSU, and Texas. Scotty,
I think FSU is going to get kicked out.
Yeah, Scotty is Washington, Michigan, Texas, FSU. So it looks like that's probably the favorite right now. the way it goes. But wow, what college football is so much fun, dude. Next year it's gonna be even crazier. But anyway, going back, keys of the game again: defense can't sleep on Washington's 14th ranked offense. Attack, and force turnovers. And then number 3 for me is win that turnover battle. You said you don't want to see any turnovers. I just say win the turnover battle, protect the football. Protect the football starts with protecting the quarterback. Now, when regards of points or game prediction, we talked about it yesterday, so there's no spoiler alert. FinStanza and I both have a win for the Miami Dolphins today. FinStanza, what was your final score, sir?
38-17.
38-17 for Miami. Again, and that would move if the Dolphins do their business today. And if the week plays out the way we
if it's an if, ooh, post game.
Okay. If it doesn't matter. If they win, a win is a win. If they win today, if and when they win, okay. And if the week plays out the way we've predicted, the Miami Dolphins, by the end of this week, should be, and that's with Jacksonville winning, Kansas City losing, Baltimore with a bye. If it goes this way, the Dolphins, the number 1 seed would go to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Dolphins would move up to 4-2. The second seed in the playoffs, where they were faced the Houston Texans if the playoffs ended after this week, if everything goes the way it goes.
Wait, Bobby, you want to see something really cool? The rink I'm in. Can you see the rink I'm in?
Yeah.
Take a look at how cool the dressing room is.
Oh, that's perfect. That's awesome.
Dressing room, eh?
Yeah, man.
Say hi, Zach. Zach, wave.
What's up, Zach? Let me see here. And my final score, guys. I know and Scotty might be on the money with that. I think I saw Scotty and remember Coach Vogel, 32-17 for Coach Vogel. Scotty, I think, had a low score. I think it was, and I don't want to butcher it. Let me see if I could find it. I saw it before I was doing something. Maybe he could pop back in there. It was a lower score, and he might be right, especially with the weather the way it is today. But for me, I have a high-scoring game, and I made this prediction throughout the week after I've done my thing. Maybe it might change now, but I'm going to keep with it. I have Miami winning 44-14, which is the highest score I've given the Dolphins this season. I think this could be the day the Dolphins do that. 24-17, Scotty, thank you. Yes, 23-14, Eric. Appreciate you guys coming in the clutch with those ones there. Make sure I do want to have this here. These final inactives.
Did they announce it yet?
No. That's what I'm looking into. Oh, did you hear that the Dolphins? I forgot. I was going to text you yesterday, but I said I could talk to you. Oh, they have it. They had it here. Hold on. I'm sorry. Final inactives for today. Ooh, big shock. Robbie Chosen, Skylar Thompson, Eli Apple, Robert Jones, Tyler Kroft, and the biggest shock, Javon Holland is out.
I'm happy about that. I'm happy
out
about
for
that.
Today's game.
But that means Teron Armstead's playing. That means Robert Hunt's playing. Chris Brooks is playing. Like these are. And
does Armstead though? But does I hate, but does Armstead? That doesn't excite me. Armstead playing.
No. That means he's not as bad as people think it is. And for me, Javon Holland, I'm the one guy with Javon Holland where you have Needham, you have Elijah Campbell, you have Brandon Jones. If he's not feeling 100%, I'm okay with that.
Yeah. So Holland is out, but again, I expected the good defensive game. I wasn't expecting him to be out, but hey, all good. So there you go. So what I was going to say very quick before we wrap it up, the Dolphins announced that they will be wearing their throwback aqua jerseys on Christmas Eve against the Cowboys.
That's very cool.
So we'll finally get an aqua jersey.
Yeah, because today is going to be white with aqua bottoms and white jerseys today.
So there you go. Well, I must have missed that conference, guys. I appreciate you guys letting me know. So Holland was expected to be out. To me, I was surprised. I did not see it, but I'm looking forward to that throwback aqua. But anyway, guys, listen again. Don't forget the coverage for the Miami Dolphins does not end today. Of course, we're finished. We're going to wrap up the pregame show right now. But today, first off, immediately after the game, myself, Rob Mosley of Dolphins Thirsty, and Alex of East 10th Street Boys will be on the Battered Fins Fans podcast immediately after the game for their post-game show. And then
how come I wasn't invited?
I don't know. And of course, later tonight we got the Dolphins post-game show on the network, on FinStanza Sports Network. Me and Evan will talk on the game. Evan will get his thoughts on the game, and so join us.
Tell Manny I'm no longer supporting 5-star drivers.
There you go. So and then next week,
take an Uber.
Take an Uber. Let me make sure I have this here. I don't want to see something here. Come on. There we go. All right. Perfect. I have it. All right. So for next week, guys, don't forget the Dolphins. Well, I know you're not going to forget, but the Miami Dolphins are back in Miami, and they're going to be facing the Tennessee Titans on Monday Night Football. You can, of course, catch our pregame show and postgame show on Monday night. We have special guest Marissa Marino on of DolphinsTalk.com joining us. We'll be excited to have her on to preview that game with us. So don't forget, if you're new to the channel, hit that like and subscribe button. Join me and FinStanza tonight for the post-game show as we celebrate the Dolphins going 9-3 against the 4-9 Washington Commanders. The Dolphins' December playoff push is on. Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to, where is it?
He's not prepared.
Messing up I was prepared. It's just my stupid mouth. All right, guys, don't forget, like, subscribe, and most importantly, fins up.
I'm Tristan.